Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Autopsy with Maddee P. I'm your host, Maddee P. Girl. What's cracking, Queen? Did you miss me? I missed you. I've been on a little break, y'all. We had Christmas, we had a lot going on, and it is a new year. I'm starting to feel crisp. We're going to get there. I have not sat down and filmed in like 3 weeks. So we're just going to work with me today, not against me, because I deserve that. And I really did miss sitting down to film. I think I just hit an era where it felt like I had to put something out every week, but I wasn't taking in every week. And I knew that that was going to happen at some point because of how much work I was putting in. It just like I wasn't being fueled. And instead of knowing that was coming and doing something about it and taking a little step back, I crashed out minorly. It wasn't a huge crash out. And you guys know I crash out every so often. And my definition of a crash out now is so different from what it used to be. An old crash out would involve maybe screaming, saying things that I didn't mean. And now my crash outs are very internal. I'm trying to learn the line of like bottling things up and then just being mature and moving on. And I'm kind of like struggling in this little in between because inside I want to flip out and break down and cry, but I know behavior wise that's not who I am anymore. And some things you swallow and you move the fuck on. And that is a big rule in my life. Things are not meant to be stuck on. We're meant to let like release and keep it fucking moving because things aren't that deep and we can't stop at every single roadblock. It's just we don't have time for it, and that's not the way life works for productivity and for peace. But I think maybe it's that, and I'm sitting here talking about it, maybe I'm struggling with identifying what is worth stopping over and what's not. Because I'm allowed to cry. I know that. I'm allowed to feel things and feel my emotions, but for some reason, I was identifying things that I should be feeling as weakness. I know. And when I sit here, okay, Miss Ellie Girl's also not used to filming again, so I need you to go sit your ass down. Please. I don't know how I got lost in that sauce is what I was saying basically, because I spent so much time talking to you about it, about emotion and emotional regulation and dealing with things properly. So, and how important it is to, even if we have to scream it, even if we're shaking when we say it, to just say things. And I worked so hard to get there, and I think it was just burnout and continuing to push to be more. We're going to get there. Anyways, welcome. That was a lot. I told you coming back this new year was going to be about us shedding skin and about us moving forward because our last few episodes were very recap based. And I did a long reflection period. And I think I didn't even know what was happening. Instead, it was causing me distress. And I was reflecting in this way of that I'm not enough, clearly. And instead of, okay, here's how I'll frame it. The reflection just kept occurring inside of me, and it felt like something telling me that I wasn't enough, but it was me needing to stop and slow down and just be grateful for what I have and understand that I have to reflect. And it was happening in my life, but it was causing me to be depressed, if that makes sense. I was subconsciously doing it. This feels like warm-ups because I'm framing all of this so strange right now, but I just wanted to be very candid today, and the emotions are already flowing. Should we do our warm-ups? Like, we're 4 minutes in. I was going to film the other day, but I kind of recognized that I was in a bad place. And I didn't want to bring that energy to you guys, not into this new year. And honestly, the crash out that has been occurring has been happening at the perfect time. And that is part of me reframing these past few days and reassuring myself. And it coming in January and the shedding occurring all at the same time actually is a perfect thing. So I need to flip my perspective on that because it's a new year. It's a new vibe. Anyways, I feel like literally never sat down with a microphone before in my fucking life, and I probably sound so confusing, and that's because I have not been investigating my own feelings. So I am not what is the word? I'm just not cohesively getting them out. This has been a common theme of me talking through my problems with people I love as well. And it used to never be that way for me, but I'm not good at conveying my feelings right now. And it might cause you some confusion, but I don't fucking care. So I don't have that much for warm-ups today. I think that was a fucking warm-up. We're 5 minutes in. I just keep saying time marks like it's going to save me. So I got really into the Donner Party. You guys should know what the Donner Party is. It's this group of like 80 people out in the Midwest. I don't know the years. Don't ask me. Didn't come with facts whatsoever. And basically they took this route trying to explore, adventure, create new pathways for people. And they took a risk in doing such, which involved a lot of despair and people dying and cannibalism. Yeah, cannibalism. And oddly enough, the people that survived mostly were full families versus like the single travelers. And that just shows reliance on others. You know, as corny as it fucking is, I don't know what about that struck me, because you'd think, you know, the survival of the fittest, you only need so much to survive, and you're not wasting your energy on the hopes of somebody else surviving more than you. You're just trying to make it through. Basic survival, right? And that wasn't the case. The moms that had 3 kids that were like given their fucking left leg and had nothing to eat, those are the ones that survived. And you know, maybe that's a sign of true love. Maybe that's that shit right there. That love prevails. There's magic, I swear. In nuclear family and unit. That's proof. That is proof. So I don't know. Then I got really into the whole cannibalism situation. And I do this sometimes. Y'all know I'm a fucking creep. Like, in terms of, that sounded so bad. Okay. All right. Wake up. In terms of my research, sometimes, like, every 3 years, the cannibalism, I'm just like, it's so fucking fascinating. Crazy. So essentially they ate each other. And to be honest, I'm about to sound really sick in the head for this. I am. And I don't care, because you're sitting here watching. You know who I am. You know who I am. Happy Halloween. Halloween's year round for me. I don't like that every time I research cannibalism and I get into it and I find different parts of history that are cannibalistic, they mostly are out of survival. Like, only serial killers are performing cannibalism because they want to eat humans. This is going to get flagged. Except for, and dare I say it, the Amazonian tribes. There is also something ritualistic, though, I think, about that. Like, there's something culture-driven about it versus, like, just a peoples came together and said, we're going to kill each other because we like to eat it. And that's fucked up of me. I'm sick in the head for that. Part of me for liking a good bedtime story. Part of me for loving the drama. But anyways, if you know any of those, please drop them down below. That being said, in the Battle of, like, Lindenberg or some shit, that's not even right. I'm not coming with facts today. But essentially, they categorized people when it came time to hold them accountable for eating people, where it was based on survival was one punishment. And then, okay, no. This is what it was. Thank God for memory. If the person was already dead, you served time. And this was a starving situation. So the city was blockaded by Nazis to some degree. Don't quote me. And everybody was starving. There was no food. Everybody was dying, right? So if the person's already dead, I repeat myself, you go to jail. Straight to jail. Too high prices on sweaters? Straight to jail. If you know what that is, I love you. And the second category was if you killed them and ate them. Or if they were not dead. Some shit. Then you are hung, baby girl. You reap what you sow. I found that so interesting that it got so bad they had to categorize the cannibalism. Y'all, I am a kind person. I just want you to know that, okay? I just have twisted... Humanity just fucks with me sometimes. And I think that's what's going on with me. Every once in a while, I hit this spot, and it used to be because of drugs, where things just trip me out. And I can only describe it as a head fuck. And that is what's happening. And my curiosity is reflecting as such. The things that I'm looking into, not that it's bad, all of it, but it's like this curiosity bug in me where I'm like, humanity is shit. And that's so real, too. Like, it's okay that we think that way. And I don't know if people don't want to talk about it or what, but that's how I feel sometimes. Like, and we're going to get into it. And I'm in that era, okay, where I'm just tripped out by life, by like being alive. And I still feel the same way where it's an opportunity, right? I finally hit this spot in life where I felt like it was so cool to be a human. Instead of it being trippy and like fucked up in that way, how I used to feel, it's like cool though. And it might be really weird. I'm not on drugs. Thank you. I will pee in a cup for you. It's a magic thing where I don't know. And I think it's just this transition of life where I'm becoming an adult. I don't know. Are you guys catching this, or are you guys calling the police? You smelling what I'm stepping in, or am I going to be handcuffed and put in a fucking straitjacket? I don't know. I'm just trying to be real and candid with you guys today, and that's all. Moving on. So, Donner Party. That's all I have to say about that. All I have to say. That was a lot. I said a lot. Now, I was going to say a couple other things, but we're already at 11 minutes, and I want to move on because clearly I have a lot to say. But I learned recently that it takes 6 weeks for a pig to be turned into a wild boar. It's basically, I didn't know this, and this may be obvious to a lot of people, but a pig is the domesticated version of a boar. So if you send a pig out, if you send a pig out into the wild, they're going to grow hair and tusks. Within 6 weeks, their brain pattern flips and they become like a predator versus prey. And I find that to be really interesting. And I keep thinking about it. And I don't know why. And maybe it holds some information. Maybe it was just that intriguing to me. I've been on my Joe Rogan grind. I'm like clean high recently. So, getting back to it. It is a new year. Obviously, Happy New Year, I say again. And we are going to talk about some New Year's resolutions and goals and etc. But I'm going to do, like I always do, a lot of this from my personal stance of where I am in life right now. I was starting to feel very stale, like I said. And I had been saying that for a few weeks, but it was like such a long, like, I feel like I was shook. And when we get to being that stale, rejuvenation can be kind of difficult, I think. And it can be really hard to come out of those times, but it is the greatest opportunity from growth because it was a huge illustration of me denying myself and breaking that mold. And we talk about that when I got clean, when I didn't drink anymore, that I was defying myself. But I had to do it in a way that I hadn't done before, I think, where my thought patterns were in such a straight and narrow, such like embedded in me way that I felt like I was so burnt out that I couldn't even express it to myself, because if I said it, then I would stop what I was doing. And that's not a healthy place to be. But it's led me, for myself personally, for this new year to come with an open mind. And I kind of urge you to follow me with that, because I have to understand now, and what I am learning is that I don't have to fit into boxes anymore. And that was a pressure I had put on myself. And it's because I felt safe there. Because I know I'm not using, I know I'm not drinking, and I know that I'm growing. So I thought, tricking myself into it. And I am forcing myself to remain in these boxes of, like, I'm a walking checklist. Okay, I've worked out. Okay, I've helped my sponsees. Okay, I'm going to meetings. Okay, I'm going to work. Okay, I'm saving money and drinking water. And, like, I don't have to fit there. And it was limiting me because I can be anything that I dream myself to be. But because I'm, like, putting myself here, I am believing that I can't be. I can only grow so much in this box. And it's just this fact that I can be anything I want. And I think I was just really struggling with change. And bear with me, I might cry today. Sorry. And this is such a good illustration for the new year. Like I said earlier, I just truly believe that. Having that open mind and stuff is requiring a new level of confidence in myself. Because opening my mind to understanding that I truly can be anything and that I don't have to fit in this way that I've illustrated in my brain means that I don't have to put a limit on myself anymore. And I think that's so important for people who suffer with self-sabotage. And that is something that I do. And I was seeing it occur in my life too, where I'm doing great and I hit this great mark. My body looks great. I feel great. I'm helping others. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. And then I am reaching for food. And I'm hitting the fuck out of my vape. Or I decide to not put my laundry away that day. Or to do whatever. And it's like this, I know it seems like such a small scale of self-sabotage, but it's so real because I can't just be on a high. Like I can't just be great. And I want that to get the fuck out this year. I can't take it. And that's really hard to break. And I think it's a huge illustration of my burnout. Like I have to be open to break that mold. That when I'm hitting the peak, I go forward instead of like try to cap it. I don't know. And I feel like part of today is me like just exploring my thoughts and my emotions and doing it on camera with you guys. So like I don't think I have all the answers, but I do think I naturally cap myself out. Yeah, so I guess we'll talk a little bit about my analysis process and setting goals realistically and moving forward. And obviously like I'm a big fan of New Year's resolutions, I guess, to some degree, but I think that's just because I'm a big fan of change in general. I don't like the pressure that is put around New Year's resolutions, and I don't think it works. As somebody that changed her mindset completely and like really decided to choose best in life, I am not a fan of small fixes anymore. And I think longevity and patience aren't at the root of New Year's resolutions as they should be. So honestly, I never really fucked with that shit. Even my first year sober, I was like, I'm not making any New Year's resolutions. I'm doing great. And that did add a layer of confidence to myself, but I understand as a society that people need them. And I think that it's a really good holiday for that. I think like for sober people and people just looking for change and to move forward, it's so nice to have a holiday that's based in growth. And especially one that's also based around drinking. Like the holiday season can be difficult for people going through sobriety and getting clean. And I mean, for people in general. And I think it's just really nice that it caps off in celebration of moving forward. And I know I'm posting this like a few days late, like it's not necessarily the New Year's Day or whatever. But I think that's a good perspective to have as a sober person, like on New Year's and what it can mean to you. Because honestly, I think Christmas was like, it was great for me this year because I spent it with somebody that I love and I got to go out of town and stuff. But in general, ever since Allie, this season, and honestly, I think it's just getting sober. I used to be so holiday oriented and each holiday is like a chore now. And it's not like the same that it used to be. And I had accepted that, even down to like my birthday. I had accepted that, and that's because I chose life. Every day is worth celebration to some degree. And I don't mean it like that. Like, every day matters, I think, is what it is in my life now. And I can enjoy each day, and I'm not like having these senses of impending doom and depression and anxiety the way I used to. And holidays don't have to be an escape, I think is the words I'm looking for to illustrate that. So I don't know. I think this season I was just ready for it to be fucking over. And I know I made my whole holiday, you don't have to drink through the holidays and stuff. And I don't need to sit here and justify myself. I think I want to sit here right now and justify why I feel that way. Because I come here and tell you something, but I feel something. And I tell y'all all the time, and the reason for this podcast, everything is easier said than done. You know? And sometimes I feel real shit too. And I don't need to justify that shit is hard for me sometimes. Or the exact advice that I give people I'm not taking on my own. Because I've said all throughout, this is the standard that I hold myself to. This is not necessarily always who I am. And I have to accept, first and foremost, that I'm honest and expressive about my opinions now. And sobriety doesn't make me perfect. Sobriety doesn't mean that I follow all this shit and I do to a T everything I post for you each week. It's that I'm real. That's what sobriety fucking gives me. Is first and foremost, I am real about shit now. And I think that's also where my confidence got skewed recently because I felt like I wasn't being real. Moving on. I keep looping back. You see, and I haven't even gotten to the part where I tell you what's wrong with me. We're just talking out of our ass. It's giving girl time today, and I really appreciate that of you. Wow, looking back at my notes and I got extremely off topic. Talking about New Year's, but Jesus Christ, I'm more of a fan of realistic goals than I am of New Year's resolutions. And I think it's like, how do we make this stick though? I think it's important to remember that when you set a resolution and you fail within a few weeks, in your brain, you are now categorizing yourself as a failure. And we've talked about that before, where I viewed myself as somebody that does not accomplish things. I am a failure. I don't follow through with my word. And setting your goals up in a way where you're just going to fail them only enhances that. And what kind of fucking good does that do if you work out for 2 weeks and then you finish feeling like you aren't worthy of growth and change? I just think maybe there's not as much encouragement surrounding people with their New Year's resolutions as there should be. Okay, and I kind of want to share now my analysis and reflection. And all of this came before any goal setting. I actually didn't even really have any New Year's goals, y'all. And not that that's a bad thing, honestly. Now I'm glad that we'll get into it. I'm glad that I set some out for myself. I think I really needed them. And the rejuvenation that I needed it has been months coming, like at least like a 6 weeks period of time probably coming. But I got back from Christmas and everything kind of like crashed and burned for myself, I think. And I will share some of my New Year's resolutions. I think obviously where I'm at mentally and stuff right now is some of it's private. And I come on here and I am vulnerable with y'all. And I think I'm going to be sharing some deep parts of myself because I want you to see how important it is to be real. But at the same time, honestly, what it is I'm still bottling things, if I'm being completely real. And like sitting here assessing it and deciding what I'm going to tell you and what I'm not. I'm just going to let shit come out because I'm continuing this cycle of bottling emotions and I don't understand where it's coming from. And maybe today we'll get to the bottom of that and we can investigate. But essentially what happened to me and the main source of my crash out, y'all, you guessed it, it's purpose again. Once again, my life is great on paper. I even have a boyfriend, y'all. I'm in love and shit. Yeah. And I've got great friends. I've got everything I could ask for and more in my life. And I'm not saying that to you because I think you should think that about yourself. It's because I genuinely mean it. And from the bottom of my heart, first and foremost, I am grateful for everything. And that has been in the rearview mirror throughout the crash out, and it's keeping me fucking sane. And I just keep telling myself that. But I'm a server, as many of you know, still. And I didn't go to college. And I'm just like, I'm hitting a wall where I cannot continue to do it. And I think I want to talk about this today because I think a lot more people are stuck than I care to even recognize. And I did a 20-something angst episode, and a lot of this podcast has been investigation style of that feeling of not knowing where you belong, of not finding your purpose. And this was something that caused very deep depression and guilt and remorse and all types of shit within me. I drank over it. And this time when it occurred, I got really stressed out because I felt like I still don't have the fucking answer of what I want to be and what I want to do. And to be completely honest, if it was up to me, I would want this podcast to take off. I'd want to do social media and I want to be able to help other people. But that might not be my fucking answer. And what it is like I'm lacking a trust that I had before. That like this faith inside of me that I was following my higher power and I was doing everything that I was supposed to do on my end, and the rest is magic and I get to float through my journey and see how things work because I'm prepared. And that was lacking, and I couldn't trust any of it. I just felt like I completely and utterly failed myself, and that shit hurts. Like, it is that deep to me. And I don't know, I just really I got to a point that it was like genuinely a mind fuck, and I was scared to even express it because I was scared I couldn't come out of it, if that makes any sense. I think those depressive episodes of me, like, and it's not a depressive episode, those periods of time where I feel upset over that feel hard to come out of. And that's what's causing me to bottle. And it's a fear of an inability to move forward from it. And that's not realistic. That's not who I am anymore. And I think I want to pretend I am these past patterns of thinking, of thought, of my anxieties, of everything. But that's not who I am anymore. And the way that I move forward looks a lot different than it did before because I didn't want to move forward in the past. And I didn't have absolutely any idea how. And I still don't know how. I still don't know exactly how I'm going to move forward from this and how I find what I love and how I move forward. But I do know that I have to remain confident. And I have to keep my trust. And that was something that was dissolving within me. So anyways, I extremely crashed out over that. And I'm surprised I didn't just cry about it. Luckily, I have people in my life that really helped me through this period. And I didn't want to talk about it. I say again, I didn't. And I think it's because I just feel so fucking down on myself. And it's so not fair because then I talk to people in my life and I'm so proud of them. They could have the same fucking job as me. Or like, and it's this thing where I think I need to be more and more and more and more. And I think it's ego. It's just my ego. Like, I'm not that fucking special though. Just like everybody else, I have to fall in line and suffer at the hands of humanity and the way life is set up. And I think what really tripped me out was that, like the way that society is set up. And we did a 20-something angst episode where I talk about that. And I really had gotten to the bottom of it in my soul about how I felt about society and that I still had to fit into those norms, you know, and I'd set it up in my brain in this way where I could still remain to be free while adhering to the rules of society. But that shit like broke. I don't know. Like I was like, why the fuck is it set up like this? Like the making money, the choosing a job, like all the bullshit. And like, I'm just so opposed to the rat race. I'm not opposed to hard work and drive and making money. And I'm not opposed to finding what you love in life. But I am opposed to the rat race. I fucking hate it. And it's just something I have to accept. I'm not greater than that. I'm not smarter than that. I'm not better than that. That's it. You know? And like part of life is that I don't get to walk around and choose my schedule and that I like smell roses all day and get to truly do what I love. I have to put in work. And I have to understand I'm not better than the rat race, than society. And I don't mean that in a way to talk down on myself. It's almost in a way of uplifting because I needed to be fucking humble by it. And I don't know. This is supposed to be a positive New Year's resolution episode. And I am just like, I'm honestly happy with myself for how candidly I am talking about it right now and how open I am being. But I was definitely searching for something to subconsciously fill those holes. And I couldn't turn and look at my fucking problems, honestly. And it was a subconscious situation, not where I'm in my mind choosing to not think about it. It's because I was scared, like I've said 15 times this episode, that I was going to stop if I did. And I knew that on the inside, somewhere deep within me. And I was relying on food and on a busy schedule and on scrolling on my fuck-ass phone, on the fuck-ass talk and trying to silence shit. And that is always a red flag for me when I start doing shit like that, because I know my ability to love life and I know my ability to just step outside and just breathe and to just enjoy where I'm at the same time. And I know that feeling so well. And when I start bottling up like that, it's because I'm fucking hiding. And I know those red flags, but I was ignoring them. And I was just so on edge, honestly. And I think deep down, I know that filling holes and ignoring shit is just what leads down a really dark road. And I am that dramatic about the potential of relapse, you know? I don't want that. I haven't thought of that during this time. Clearly I just want to fucking move forward, you know? That's all I fucking want. And sometimes that pace isn't fast enough for me. And I'm not accepting the journey the way I'm supposed to. And that's just it. It's me constantly saying, I'm supposed to. And it's not fair. It's not leaving me enough breathing room to just be me. I think I was just scared because things that usually do fuel me and make me feel alive were feeling monotonous. So yeah, I was disappointed in my career path and in the way that I feel about purpose in that whole situation, but it was definitely more than that. And sitting here talking about it, I think it's because I was pushing for success more than I was pushing for peace because I feel like I didn't deserve peace anymore. Like, I'm not anything if I'm not success. And I was really scared that I was going to get to that place. And that's like the pit of burnout, honestly, is like you become everything that you're trying to be, you know? And like you never, like as so much as I am the judge, I'm never enough. I fill my schedule so much with being the best that I literally couldn't be. There's no way that I could be the best having a schedule like that and asking so much of myself, because that thing where I don't feel that fire in my life, you can't move forward like that. You can't go into a new year like that, and you can't achieve any fucking goals like that. I was creating this imaginary clock that I couldn't beat. And that's a dangerous spot to be in as somebody in recovery, because I can't feel at peace when I'm running like that. And it makes me, that for some reason makes me emotional, because I think I worked so hard on pace and on understanding that I can't beat the clock. I can't beat the clock of society. I can't beat the clock of humanity. I can't beat the clock of what I ask of myself. But I still set it up that way, thinking that I can race and outrun this clock. And it's not the way that life works. And I was definitely just getting snappy and kind of having an attitude with people. And I hate to come here and admit that, because y'all know how important it is to me to treat people fairly, with kindness and being just. But I'm just a human, and sometimes I break down. And, you know, I didn't crash out on anybody. I didn't cause anybody serious harm, but I definitely caught attitudes for sure. And I can be accountable about that, but I think in reality, it's me hiding. Like I said earlier, it's just me hiding from myself. And then that causes me to hide from other people too. And that causes me to be defensive. It's that recipe of other people not being able to see in. And again, that's another dangerous spot to be, a spot that I shouldn't be in. Like, there can't be a front that occurs in my life. And I'm being honest and I'm being vulnerable about that, because that's the truth and that's what happened to me. Like, and I know what I fucking come here and tell you. I know. And I don't want to hear it. I need to rewatch some of my own fucking episodes. But that was the level of this crash out. It's like a bare bones situation. So I think that brings me to talk about my first New Year's resolution, because I'm done talking about the crash out and I just wasted so much of your time. But my first New Year's resolution that I'll share with you is pace. And this balance of life and slowing down. I need to be back to the basics. I'm like shaking talking about it, because I'm having so many realizations here right now. And like, I'm just pleased with the way that I have come out of this. And I'm very thankful, even though it took a long period of time of me being stale and not knowing what was going on in my brain. I am proud to sit here and be able to analyze it and talk about it. Again, I can't achieve anything if it's not centered around peace and healing. It doesn't matter how hard I work, how long I'm in the gym, how many hours I spend on the podcast, how many hours I spend trying to help people. It doesn't matter, because I cannot move forward unless the center of it is peace. And living without that pace in my life, where there is a balance, caused me only continuously to choose me. And not in the good way, where I talk about we choose ourselves. In this bad way, where I'm choosing my emotions over other people's emotions. And I'm choosing what's best for me instead of what's best for other people. And that is a confused and lonely and unfulfilled life, to hide from people like that. And that my pace be so fast that it's centered all around me and my achievements and my goals. There's not even room for others to bleed in, for love to bleed in, for light to bleed in. And it's so deep that I want to ignore it. I'm choosing to my subconscious. I think it's because I was fucking embarrassed that I had let it get that far to some degree. And you know, some of this is dramatic analysis. I spent a lot of times in the rooms and a lot of time talking about healing. And the level that I hold myself to is really, really high. And that needs to be brought down a peg. It does. And I need to be more realistic. Because of bottling things up, it causes me to revert to self-reliance. And that is not a life that we live anymore. Whether it's me following my higher power or me leaning on other people for help, for advice, for love, whatever. I think I was tired of certain things, like not just being able to get over them. Like it's reoccurring. And I have to continue. I come on here and say that. And I have to continue to understand that's what life looks like. That me having a self-reliant attitude and the way that I am is like a personality trait, bitch. Like I spent my life doing that. And I don't just get over it in a year and a half of trying to heal it. Of trying to understand that letting other people nurture me and love me is assisting them too. And that like, you know, I think it's just sometimes there are certain things in life that I will do wrong over and over and over again. And what matters is that I see it and that I'm trying. It doesn't matter that I continue to fail at it. And it's this big word around fail. I don't know what it is, but I want that out of our vocabulary. This big emphasis on fail, at least for me in my personal life. Another New Year's resolution is being stern about what I feel and stern in my opinions, because I was reverting to, and this is all of these resolutions came after a bout of analysis, not because I want to be something, but because I need to be, because I am acting out of character. Anyways, it's partly reverting to this need to be liked and this like that front that we discussed and that bottling things up, all of that. It causes a facade of me illustrating who I am, because I think strength is something that it's not, or I'm just getting that a little bit twisted along the way. I want to and I have to be free of clutter and of mess, and that includes my opinions and the way that I truly feel about things. And I think I was taking the soft approach during that time period because I was being lazy. And I didn't want to investigate, or I didn't want to indulge. And it was lazy and it was cowardice. And that's because I had so much going on in my own brain that I couldn't even recognize. It was like gray noise happening that like I've said 15 times, I just couldn't even identify certain shit. It felt like spaghetti. Tricking myself into believing that I'm taking a soft approach and that I'm nurturing people. It's me believing that it's easier. And it's not. It's the further path to getting done what I need to accomplish in my life, which is being honest, kind, humble, and true. And it's only filling my brain with these unfinished thoughts. And I think that is a lot of what's happening, is that I'm trying to connect things over and over that don't need to be connected. And it's because I have several unfinished thoughts or things that I need to say that I didn't say. And they add up and they jumble inside of me. And there isn't space to just be clean and just be me. And I think that it benefits other people to be soft. That's what I was tricking myself into believing. And this is such a random, very personal New Year's resolution, just being stern. But I worked really hard to find my voice. And it disappointed me when I realized that, like, in certain aspects, I was not doing that. But I am a force. Period. I'm a force. And I have to act like that. I was going through the motions of being a force. I was filling my day. I was lifting heavy weights. I was swimming. I was eating what I was supposed to eat. I'm going to meeting. Do I need to list them again? Like, really toot your own horn. You guys know the schedule, okay? But I'm going through the motions of being a force, but I don't believe it. And that's a lot of what this recipe and what longevity looks like, is the belief at the bottom of all of that. That's what makes all of these goals and all of this shit achievable, is that we become who we are trying to be, first and foremost. Like, we take on those character traits. We are that before we can set out to achieve things like going to the gym more and doing all that. It's a flip of the mindset. It's not realistic for me to add more things to my plate. And that's what I was fooling myself into believing, when really what the goal should be is retouching, realistic to enhance. As much as I want to act like adding more is going to save me, and that's what's going to change shit, and that's what's going to help me, when I just need to enhance these certain parts of my life. Fine-tuning is what creates rhythm. Fine-tuning is what allows sustainability. It's like how I talk about I need patience more than I need to lift heavy weights. And I think that is a complicated way of looking at settling into the journey of New Year's resolutions and of being better, but that's what it costs in a human brain. What really helps is knowing myself and knowing that I can't be fucking Gandhi and I can't be a world-class heavy lifter. I mean, like, come on. I have to understand where I'm at and what I can achieve, not just pretending that I'm somebody I'm not. It's like asking a goal it's like asking a firefighter to do heart surgery. That's what I was doing. And that's what a lot of, I think, New Year's resolutions look like. And it's more important when you're setting into the new year to understand and settling into who you actually are and what is actually obtainable for you. So I think it's this mission of how can I uphold these goals on even my worst days. And that's kind of what I had to break it down to on the days that I didn't want to get up and the days that I don't want to keep going, where it can be a requirement, and it actually like work out. And I continue to achieve those goals and I continue to push. And this was like an interesting kind of thought that I had just during my reflection. And I think it was that I am not having enough appreciation for the way that time periods serve me, because I have like tricked myself into thinking moving forward is all life's about. And I think it's because I'm starting to learn nostalgia in this way, where I can take stuff with me and where it can be good. And that to move forward, I don't have to have disdain for what's behind me. And I think that's an important lesson to kind of bring up today. That's what adds dreaminess to life and romanticizing, is me becoming one with each phase, each thing, each goal, new thing that I'm going through. Is I don't have to keep running forward. It's kind of pace re coming back into the conversation, but it allows me to be all together as one. It's like there's this cycle almost of cleansing that I have to go through that I'm not going through. And I think that goes for every goal. It's a cycle of reflection and a recycle of cleansing. That is the only way to kind of move forward, instead of just pushing and not taking things with you. For me, it's just how my head and my feet can stay together as one, because it allows me to see that I do deserve better, like it's not because I have to, it's not because I have disdain for my past or I suck, it's because I deserve to. So I think that this year, a lot for me and my New Year's resolutions, and I urge you to kind of join me in this, is the process of just like cleanliness, like metaphorically being clean and cleaning everything out, because the bare bones situation is just so real, and we just keep trying to add more to the plate and add more to what we think we can be. And instead, it's easier, in my brain at least, to just cleanse everything out the best we can and strip back to the bare bones of what we really need. And that brings me to the point of, I think I was getting really, really confused in my wants and my needs. And I could not identify my wants from my needs. And it was causing me to be in this really weird pace and this strange rhythm of life that was making me hate a lot of shit that I used to love. That is what caused me a lot of confusion instead of progress. So like, I wanted a better body. I'll be honest about it. The food thing has been reoccurring too. I'm sorry, girls. We're revamping for the new year. I'm just being real. But what I need is health. And when I started my fitness journey and this last time and all of that, it was about simply my health. And I love myself and I was fueling myself properly. And that's what it was about. And it had kind of flipped, because I needed that. I need that to stay healthy and to live a long, happy and healthy life. But instead it flipped to the want of, I just want to look good, which is bullshit. Or like the fact that I want more money, but what I need to do is find what I love. Or like, I want to be ahead, right? Fucking bullshit. I don't fucking know. I'm crazy. I'm literally 26. But what I need is a rhythm and a pace. Clarification has been super important, because just because I'm indulging in now does not mean that I'm sacrificing my future. And sometimes it feels that way in purpose-driven people. And I bring that up on the podcast, not only because it's personal and I'm showing you how, just what's happening and how I go about these things as a sober girl and sometimes struggle, and refrain from thoughts of drinking or using. But also, alcoholics and addicts are very purpose-driven people. And we are very like business oriented and savvy and shit like that. So I think that these questions and the way that I feel happens with a lot of people like myself who share my disease. And because we didn't live a normal fucking pattern where we go to college and we do what we're supposed to do and we say yes to mom and dad and we do all the shit right. We rebel and we end up years later like, what the fuck is my life, while you're trying to get better. And that balance like sometimes sucks to get through, but it's a blessing because I learned so much shit from my past. And I learned so much more than I could ever repay going through the shit that I did getting clean and getting sober. Those are lessons that people will never learn, you know, and like, not to toot my own horn, but it's the truth. And I have to be so thankful for that sometimes and reframe like the importance of that, and that my life didn't go the normal pace, but comparison is always going to be the thief of joy. And I know that, and I know that deep down. And for me, like, feel like I had eradicated a lot of comparison in my life, and just being proud of who I am. And for that to kind of like start to creep back in just shows me the importance of new goals and of new resolutions for myself. But I have to understand that most of what I fill my schedule with and most of the bullshit that makes me upset is mostly wants. And this year I think I just need to focus on needs for myself. Because when my wants become obligation, then I lose what I'm working towards. And we want to act like getting all this work done and doing everything is going to like save us, but we want work and we want the journey. And this is like for myself too. And other people might kind of take this, but at the end of the day, everything has to fit into one day. And when obligations and all this stuff starts spilling into 2-3 days, it's not rhythm, and we act like it is. So it's like this thing of getting everything done hopefully in this day so it doesn't spill into these days because your plate is so full. And I don't know, I think I just that's like an odd thought, and I don't know how to convey that better, but I recognize I can't operate like that because it's not rhythm. Like, it has to be, everything fits into a day, and what doesn't, you know? And I think finding my pace frustrates me for that reason, because I feel like I'm not getting enough done when the productivity is already up here. I already get so much shit done in a day, and it's okay that I dial my plate back. So I think for the lack of sense I made today, sorry about that one. More than anything, I think New Year's resolutions should be really inward facing. It's okay that they're inward facing and emotion based and attitude based, because nothing is sustainable if we're not clean. And more than anything, until we can believe that we are worthy of that shit, that we can make stuff happen. I think what I'm getting at too is that it's important to acknowledge that life can be balanced, financially stable, driven, health oriented, and still be fun. You don't have to choose one. Your life doesn't have to just be boring and goal driven or fun and loud, you know? Like, there can be a balance of both. And I want you to remember that in New Year's resolutions. My camera's gonna die though. So love you guys, and I hope you have a great week. Bye.